Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Year of Love podcast. This is episode 22, and I'm your host, Alison Woo. Well, it's almost summertime, and that means it's time to travel, get away from our normal day-to-day, expand our minds, and really get out there. So I hope you have some plans to either get to the beach or the mountains or somewhere amazing you've never been before that really makes your heart sing. I think so much a part of building a life you love means actually getting out into the world and seeing other things that we normally have the chance to. And summer feels like the perfect time to slow down and savor these moments. I also hope that you have a chance to reconnect with your loved ones in ways that we haven't really had a chance to over the past 2 years. So please do so safely and have a blast. While you're away, or if you can't get away as much as you want, one way I love to expand my mind is to read. So this episode, I'm going to share with you some of my recommendations for the best summer reads that will really help transport you. So we're going to start off something newsy and topical. And this is the book that I have not been able to put down. This is Tina Brown's The Palace Papers. Very newsy. If you realize last weekend, we were all celebrating the Queen's Jubilee. In Tina Brown's second book about royalty, she talks about the Queen, Camilla, Kate, and Meghan, focusing on the women of the Windsor dynasty and understanding what makes them tick. It's a really fantastic read. Tina Brown is an incredible writer. There are lots of royal books out there. What makes Tina Brown's different is she has a very journalistic and discernible voice that makes you laugh out loud and is incredibly insightful. She interviewed over 120 people for it, and it feels not gossipy, but more interesting and more journalistic than anything else I've read. It is the follow-up to her first royal book, which was the Diana Chronicles, which was also an incredible read. I find myself going back to this one after reading this because it picks up really 20 years after the Diana Chronicles, and you get to hear what's been happening. I highly recommend this, whether you like the royal family or not. It gives you a real sense of their place in history. What are all the issues about? And I can tell you it will keep you up at night reading it for good, which is really great. So keeping on the nonfiction vein, if you're looking to learn a little bit more about people, great time to pick up this fantastic book. Mel Brooks Is All About Me. You gotta love the name of an autobiography. In typical Mel Brooks style, he really details his whole life. I mean, the man is 95 years young, still as crisp and as brilliant as ever. Loved his stories about his mother, who was the real insider for humor in his family. And he tells it all, from his incredible time being a writer on, with many of the greats of television, including his friendships with Carl Reiner, Neil Simon, and just the brilliant people he's worked with around his careers. He talks about the movies, Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, my favorite one where he's, and how he met his wonderful wife, Anne Bancroft. It's an incredible story and an incredible life. And if you can ever hear him in person, please go. This kept me up also in a good way. Pick it up. You won't be sorry. Moving to fiction. One of the great things about books is that you get to live through other people's lives. And there are two books that actually help you really take you behind the scenes of that. So Isabel Allende's newest book, Violetta, you know her as the author of House of Spirits. She just tells this marvelous story of a woman who was born during a pandemic, the Spanish flu, and her life thereafter, right up until this past pandemic. Just an incredible story, beautifully written narrative. You really get to live a legacy through this matriarch and see how the events of time over the last 100 years, how life has changed. You hear about her family in South America, and it's an incredible journey. It's really a saga. Similarly, one of my very favorite authors and someone I feel blessed to call a friend is Adriana Trijiani's The Good Left Undone. Similarly, this is about an Italian family and a woman who looks back at her legacy and growing up with her grandfather, who was a very esteemed jeweler, who used to make jewelry for the Vatican, and how that evolved and how they became more of, selling their beautiful jeweled creations to the public, what happens to their family, what is the evolution of that family, how it travels, how the impact of World War II impacted them. They go through Scotland, they go through many other places. Just a great saga. I think in summer, you want to think, if you're not going to travel yourself, you want to hear how other people traverse the world and what they do themselves. If you're looking for a little bit more self-awareness, which, this channel is always about, I highly recommend Julia Cameron's newest book, Seeking Wisdom. So for many of you who are familiar with The Artist Way, which is an incredible creative recovery 12-week program that really every creative person should always do. And I think each one of us is creative, no matter if you're a doctor, lawyer, accountant, you have creativity, you are creating something in the world. This is actually kind of an express version. And for those of you who've done a program before, great refresher. I plan on doing this summer. And if you haven't done it, it's a nice, easy way to break into it, because 12 weeks may feel a little onerous, but you really do get a lot of wisdom. Julia Cameron's tools, like an artist's date, her morning pages, are things and staples that will actually sustain your life thereafter. I find myself going back to them constantly, and they definitely help to refuel and replenish my own creative soul. Lastly, since I mentioned it is a time for people to get together, this is actually an older book. And this is actually called Taming the Feast. This is Ben Ford's book. He's a very notable chef in California. It's also the son of Harrison Ford. If you're gathering together with a whole group of people and you want to do something special other than just burgers or hot dogs, this book will inspire you. I mean, he gives you the menus, the plan, the list, the shopping list. I mean, the music playlist, ideas on how to make your next gathering the most incredible one, and doing really signature things. No one will forget a party if you throw a party suggested by Ben Ford. I plan on doing this for my birthday later this month. So all of these books are available at booksellers wherever you get your books. I know sometimes the cost of books can be expensive, but this is a great chance to visit your local library. All the libraries in the world need our support right now. They also have incredible ebooks, ebook libraries where you can borrow a lot of these books for no cost. So look into that as well. If you are an audio person, all of these books are also available on Audible. So given that it's summer, just wanted to make a quick announcement. We will also be taking a little bit of a hiatus. We'll be turning this podcast into a monthly one for the summer, for July and August. So I hope that gives everybody time and space to think about all the things that they want to do, building a life that they love. Remember, you can subscribe to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Audible, Amazon, anywhere you get your podcasts. We certainly hope you make this summer an incredible one. We'll see you back on the first Sunday of July. Thanks, everybody. And don't forget to visit our website, yearoflovepodcast.com, where you can watch the video version of this or subscribe to our newsletter and find out what's next. I hope everybody has an incredible summer, and we'll see you in July. Thanks, everybody.